because I'm a borderer, I see very much the common bonds which unite people both north and south of the border. And the thought that the border, which is just up the road from here, could be an international border, or even more alarmingly, we might be going into an area with a different currency and perhaps even different immigration policies and possibly border controls. I think that's something that alarms people like myself. And I certainly very much see the common bonds that unite the people of the border regions. I would love to help out to try and do whatever I can to ensure that we do stay together as a United Kingdom. We can respect our differences, but at the same time we can build up a future for a successful United Kingdom together. I think the effect here is much more for people who, say, live on one side of the border and work on the other side of the border. I've been given the figure that something like 30,000 people cross the border each day for work reasons, and I think an international border between us would make a big difference to those people's lives. There's also worries in this area. For example, in Berwick, which is right on the border, people tend to go for hospital treatment into Scotland rather than to the nearest hospital in England, which is much further away. And certainly I'm worried that if Scotland becomes independent, life will be difficult for people in Berwick and in the border areas as a result. And indeed there's been a lot of local comment about that recently, and a lot of concern about it, and a hope that we will stay together. Picking up feelings of concern and alarm on both sides of the border. I know that those who are in favour of independence often say, oh, it's about Project Fear and trying to make Scots fearful of the consequences of independence. But what I pick up here in Northumberland is that fear and uncertainty is shared by people on both sides of the border, including those like myself who don't have a vote but who are worried about the consequences for all of us. The three main parties in England have said that the pound couldn't be shared in the same way as we've had in the past if Scotland is independent. And I noticed that Alistair Darling pressed Alex Salmond very strongly on this point in the recent debate. And I think one of the things that alarms us here in the borders is the prospect of having to change currency when we go just up the road from here. I think that would be very sad if that happens. And yet I think Alistair Darling made a very important point when he said that if you have a divorce, you can't then still keep the joint bank account. That was a very telling statement, and I think we all have to think about this danger for the future, and hopefully if there is a no vote in the referendum, then we will stay together and continue to share the currency in the successful way in which we've done.